Can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
Holy on slow!
And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is Snowman in the Morning.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the Manic Monday Super Bowl edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have y'all with us. It's Monday. We count down to the Super Bowl in Los Angeles. And I tell you what, this is going to be a fun week, especially today as I welcome the one and only Lavon Kirkland, former Steeler All-Pro. He'll join us during the second hour. Jay Spivey will join us during the second hour. And Cole Johnson joins me now. How are you, sir? Great to have you this week.
Good to be here, and top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you. Okay. I saw some things this weekend that got on my nerve. I'll get to Alvin Kamara later.
Do we have to?
Actually, no, we don't. I actually, no, we don't, because I have some thoughts, but I'm not going to express them here.
Yeah.
I'll save those for Snowman Unfiltered, which I will drop today. And if you're a member of Patreon, you'll be the first to see it. But I'm going to start with some basketball because I'm tired of people making comparisons that they don't know anything about. For example, I saw someone write the following, quote, Luka Doncic is better than John Morant.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that filth.
Yeah.
And it's flat out filth. You know how I feel about Luka. You also know I have one big-ass man crush on John Morant as a basketball player.
Look, Luka's a bad boy.
Look. Hey.
Luka's a bad boy.
I got nothing but love for Luka Doncic.
Nothing
but.
Yes. However, John Morant, no. That's not even comparison.
It's not even close.
No.
It's not even close. And when I went on Facebook, which is where I saw this piece of filth. Which is exactly where I saw this piece of filth. And folks, sorry I'm late this morning. Had to put some graphics up and make sure they were up. I had another plan in mind, but it blew up last night. But how are you going to compare Luka Doncic to John Morant? And John Morant has the Grizzlies third in the conference. Let's just start with that level.
All right.
Can we just like eliminate this altogether?
Okay. This is the thing about Luka. I mean, he played the game at a high level, although he was in Europe.
Yep.
But he played the game at a high level before he was 18. So it was understood that when he got into the league, it was going to be a matter of when he would actually be one of those players.
Yes.
And so now, it was to the point where in his second year in the league, you actually could see the game slow down for him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, almost to a crawl for him.
I mean, you could see, you and I have watched basketball 40 years. You could see it almost immediately. Dare I mention Irvin Magic Johnson?
Right. Yeah. And he was getting those similar types of comparisons, not the game, not his game, but the way he was translating how his skill was to how the game was.
Mm-hmm.
And you were seeing that quick catch on to, okay, well, this is what the NBA is about. Well, I fit in just fine. You saw that with him. The issue with him has been he's gotten to that point. Now he has to get to the next level, which is he going to be considered one of the elite players? And he's on the fringe. He's not quite there yet.
Right there. Okay, this is not to disparage anything with Luka Doncic. These people need to understand this is not disparaging Luka Doncic at all.
No.
Okay, this is not disparaging him at all. John
No.
Morant
You pay
has
to see him.
exploded.
You pay. Look, Luca.
You pay to see
I
both of
love
them. You
his.
pay to see
You
both
pay
of
to see
them.
both.
Okay.
You pay to see both of them.
You pay to see both of them. Let's just
but
be
with,
real.
but it's true. But with Luca, you say to yourself, okay, I know he can run a team if he doesn't make the turnovers.
Right. Right.
He
Right.
he can be efficient
That's
if
the
he
only
yeah
thing. That's the
yeah
only thing.
yeah he can be efficient if he actually can take care of the basketball. That's
If he
the
gets
only
out of
issue.
LeBron territory and take care
Yeah
of the basketball,
yeah
and
he
that
can do
is a
that.
direct shot. All right,
Yeah.
that's a direct shot
But
because
Ja Morant, dude,
shucks, Morant is the
dude,
leader of the Memphis Grizzlies, and for the
dude,
first time since Jason Williams, the
this
Grizzlies
dude,
have a leader.
this dude is taking a city on his shoulders in a way that I haven't seen since Zach Randolph.
Thank you,
And
thank you.
and and he's doing it in a way where you actually are comparing him to Giannis in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, dare I say, the man that we don't talk about unless it's Wednesday in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's taken over a city, and it's basically making that city be identifiable with him in that way, and he's done it early. And along with it, you're looking at this guy and you're saying to yourself, "Oh man, it's not a matter if, it's a matter when."
Yep.
Because almost every time
Yep.
you turn around, this guy is doing something that makes your jaw drop, and in different ways too.
Mm.
Not just
Yes.
dunking,
Yes. Not just flying to the rim.
right? Not just flying rim and dunking. I mean, he has ups, and he has athleticism, but he has a jump shot.
Can you
he has
say that again for me, please? Because
he has
you read my mind. Can you
Mhm.
say that again,
Yeah.
please?
Yeah. He can wow with penetration dunks because the guy can dunk, but he also has a jump shot.
A
He also has the
lethal jump shot. This
and
is the
early
man.
in
Listen, unlike Luka
right.
Doncic, okay, and this is the only
Mhm.
disparaging thing I will say about Luka Doncic. John Morant went toe to toe with Stephen Curry 3 times last year. One of those eliminated the Warriors
Yeah, I'm about
from
to say, and the
continuing in
biggest
the
one
postseason.
didn't blink. And one of those times eliminated the Warriors, and he did not blink.
And each of those 3 times last year, he scored plus 30. 2 of those plus 30 came in San Francisco.
And that's the one thing I love about Morant. You look at this guy, and he says,
There's no fear. There is
"Oh,
no fear to John
so
Morant.
so this is the mountain I must climb." Okay,
Let's go.
let's get started.
Let's climb this thing.
Like you said, fearless, has no fear. He will
None.
attack any opponent, and will be no. And then the one that endeared. Well, and of course, he has a way to get his teammates involved too. So you can't say he's a selfish player
Mm-hmm.
because the teammate rides his momentum. But the one thing that I love most about him is the confidence. That is old school. And I know you will relate to this. So he played a home game. It was against the Warriors, actually. It was a home game against the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And so he saw at courtside this young child wearing a Warriors jersey, but trying to clap up Morant.
Mm-hmm.
And so he reached out and said to Morant. Morant was like, "Nah, son, you're wearing the wrong jersey."
Exactly.
And walked back and tapped his
That's
players.
as old.
That
That's
is
as
what I
old
love
school
it.
as it gets.
Didn't disrespect him. He's like,
No.
"Nah, son, you come in the wrong jersey."
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it.
See, we need to bring that back.
Yeah.
We need to bring that. That's one of the things the NBA needs, and John Morant's providing it. Stephen Curry's providing it. Kevin Durant. God, get healthy, Kevin. Will you please?
Yes,
please. We got to get you out of Brooklyn.
Yes.
It just. Let's go in and get into that, and let's welcome our first network, which is Gridiron on Tap Podcast Network. They tweeted us out, and we are, yeah, that's our first network. BS3 with our buddy Ben Sudeth. Your network is next. Now,
Love that, brother.
The Nets have lost 8 in a row, and I'm laughing my ass off because of it. Hey, bro, I got a question, and I've posed this before to you, and I believe you posed this on Cole Sports on the Daily.
Mm-hmm.
Have the Nets done a doggone thing since they got to Brooklyn? Let me answer that for you. Hell no.
I mean, considering that they were supposed to be contending for a title last year, and they're supposed to win it all this year.
Mm-hmm.
And you're seeing what they're doing. The answer is, of course, it's a complete disastrous no. And this is something
to say the least.
To say the least, this is something that should make you smile from here until tomorrow this time.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Day. What seed were they in the East?
I believe they were the 1 seed.
They were the 1 seed. It is now February 7th. We have barely gotten past a month. Basically 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And they're what seed, sir?
When I went to sleep last night, I looked at them as the 6th seed.
Well, because of that L they took last night, they dropped down to number 7.
Good.
So now they are in the play-in area,
and they're going to play themselves out. It's crazy that the Nets were supposed to be this all-world team because they had all 3 of their big 3, and Kevin Durant got suckered, swindled, backdoored into joining the Nets.
Each day my heart hurts because of that. And it hurts for him because of that.
You can see it.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it. I know I shouldn't hope this, and people tell me I need to be more neutral, I need to be nice. Hell no. I don't get paid to be nice. I get paid to speak the truth. And the truth is this. I hope Kevin Durant sits out the remainder of the season and y'all don't make the playoffs.
We're going biased? Okay, well.
We're going straight biased, okay?
We're going straight. Okay, well,
because Kyrie opened his mouth,
idiot,
and put Kevin Durant's foot in it.
Now you covered the other 2. You covered the first, so I'll cover the other one because
please do.
As you have heard, I'm sure, sir, over the past weekend, and I'm not talking about what has supposedly come up, but the reason why it come up is what I'm talking about, that is Mr. James Harden.
Oh, God. Do we have to talk about this guy? Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
James Harden, he is frustrated and not liking his time in Brooklyn. He doesn't like Steve Nash. He really is not feeling his teammates.
Mm-hmm.
And he's wanting to force his way out of Brooklyn. And as a Rockets fan, I am sitting back
laughing
with the biggest Cheshire cat grin and cackling my behind off.
Good.
Because I knew that would happen.
You saw it coming.
Yeah, I'm like, it's going to be a matter of time. He gets straight to a team that it's on paper supposed to be a championship caliber team,
mm-hmm.
but they're full of drama.
Yep.
And
they're paper champions.
Yeah.
We've said that about them since he joined the team. Since they came together. Since Kyrie and Kevin joined the Nets. They're paper champions. Yeah. That's all they are. That is all they are.
So since he forced his way out of Houston in such an inglorious way, it's so beautiful to see him suffer and squirm. And it's not that I hate Harden. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that when you see someone, and I get it, he's starting to become in his twilight of his career. He doesn't want to see rebuilding era happen in Houston. I get that, I do.
Yes,
but
yes.
But if you're gonna risk your own health because of the pandemic, and you're going to basically come into camp when you are free of any health issues, out of shape, I'm like, oh, okay, so you want to sabotage yourself. And now that sabotage is coming back to bite him in the butt.
Good.
On a second team.
Good. Good. Because he self-sabotaged himself 1, 2, 3, 4 times when they played Golden State. He sabotaged himself. I mean, The Warriors in a closeout game in 2015, and I bet you a lot of Rockets fans saved the one that I have on my show with me because he's very astute with numbers. James Harden turned the ball over 16 times.
Dude, in big games. The dude in big games, that's
the ball
one.
over 16 times.
Yeah, that's one.
Mm-hmm.
There's another elimination game 2 years later where he turned the ball over 10 times and decided to foul out.
Yeah.
So it had more turnovers it had as many turnovers as points. I'm like, man, come on.
And
really?
That came against San Antonio.
Right. And then where was he 20 minutes later? Well, he was making it rain in the club. I'm like, man, come on, get out of here.
You would think he'd learn. You think he'd learn to be a better basketball player. More to the point, you think he'd learn to be a better teammate.
Yeah, and then the next 2 years, you see him do disappearing acts in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. oh, wow, to the Warriors both years. And it's just ridiculous to see him do that. And when he's supposed to be a talented guy to where you say, oh, yeah, this is one of the elite players in the game. And then when the big moment comes, it's like, you're elite in what, sir?
One of the most elite players in the game. Who told this lie?
Oh, well, remember Daryl Morey did.
Who told
greatest offensive player in the history of the game? You remember that?
You know how mad I was when you read that statement to me. We were on the air. I was in Michigan City, Indiana, and you read that statement to me. You know how steamed I got at that. For the most chief of reasons, I got spoiled by Michael Jordan in Chicago for 14 years.
Yeah.
Okay, greatest scorer?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Greatest scorer in the history of the game.
So I guess Kareem Abdul-Jabbar doesn't count. So I guess George Gervin doesn't count.
No.
So I guess Alex English doesn't count. And y'all see my head bent down. I'm sending out the program.
Yeah.
So
Chamberlain doesn't count.
George Gervin doesn't count. Alex English doesn't count. So Dominique Wilkins doesn't count. So, Larry Bird doesn't count to this fool, which is why you're languishing in Philadelphia. Stupid.
Oh,
I'm in a mood this morning. Can you tell?
You're steering me in the biased direction again, and I'm like, oh, man.
Look, we're all the way to the left.
To seeing Morey squirm, I'm loving it.
I'm loving it too. Oh, by the way, no Kyrie, at least not full time. And you know the best part about all it? Yeah, you know the best part about all this? These dummies in Las Vegas still feel that the Nets can come out of the East. So I guess the teams that are sitting up top right now, i.e. the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls, don't get any love. I suppose the Cleveland Cavaliers, who just snatched up Karis LeVert from Indiana, and that fire sale has begun.
Good move by the Cavs, and yes, that is a fire sale Pacers.
And I hate seeing it because the Pacers were like just on the cusp, man.
Yeah,
they were on the cusp, man, and now it's a fire. It's a fire sale. Better go to a break before I go any further, because I already know how this is going to be. This is a manic Monday. We are going to cover the Super Bowl, but it's a bias Monday also. We'll talk more NBA when y'all get back, because I have a few things to say about one Russell Westbrook.
Ooh, yes, I do too.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook, you're next. Back in a flash.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is Dariana. We call him Day for short. Every day he's hungry for something, whether it's attention, affection, knowledge. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that when he's no longer under my wing, that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. The craziest thing was believing that your dad knew everything. So as a dad, you felt like you had to know everything. You had to get everything right. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as it's coming from love, then, it kind of starts to work itself out. I want him to be able to sit back one day and go, we worked together, we did a good job.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Everyone knows what kindergarten is, but have you heard of kindergarten and transitional kindergarten? Virtual learning where you use a morning meeting to do so? Well, if you look up Miss Delisha on YouTube with Morning Meeting with Miss Delisha, that is where you find it. Here children can learn about their names, what their names start with, the letters, circles, everything that we learned in kindergarten growing up, the kids can do now and can do it with Miss Delisha. Just go to youtube.com and search Miss Delisha, and when you do, and you put your child involved in this, do me a favor. Tell them Snowman sent you.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff.
Are you kidding me? Did you not get the memo?
Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Can't wait. Oh, yeah.
I keep pushing the wrong buttons. Doggone it. I made a promise that I wouldn't swear during my program. I'm going to try to keep that promise. All right. I got a question for Laker fans. And it goes like this. Do you really trust this team to get you out of the hole? I don't. Cole and I have been saying it during the summer, and I think Cole stepped away for a moment. Cole and I have been saying this during the summer. I sure as hell don't trust him. I have no reason to. And, yeah. Russell Westbrook gets booed lustily Saturday night. I mean, he... And the Laker fans are so knowledgeable, love them dearly. They know what's going on. They absolutely know what's going on. Their team sucks. Or as Stephen A. Smith put it very eloquently, the Lakers stink. And by the way, while I'm dropping bombs today, people like, you don't have to say that. Yeah, I do. The Lakers stink. Listen to me carefully. The Lakers stink. I'll say it again, and I'll say it proudly about a franchise that I once loved because of Magic Johnson. Because of the players they have on here now, listen to me carefully. Old donner of purple and gold glasses. The Lakers stink. And one of the reasons where's number 0, because he's playing like a 0.
I think what I find so beautiful about this is a simple equation. You see, people are saying, "Oh my gosh, he's so horrible. Trade him. he's so ridiculous. Trade him.
Mm-hmm.
He can't hit the side of the barn. Trade him." And I'm thinking to myself, what happened 6 months ago when your GM, your supposed best player on the team, coerced him? That's a supposed.
But I'll add something to that.
Mm-hmm.
The supposed basketball IQ savant,
which makes me laugh even harder.
The supposed leader of men, and I sure as hell am saying supposed out loud.
Oh Lord, leader of men.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Continue, please.
I want to defy that statement with a remark, but he convinced this guy over, and all of a sudden, you were throwing victory parades on Figueroa Street
before the season even began.
The season was 2 months away from beginning, and you all said the 2022 World Championship is coming to Staples Center. Crypto.com arena.
And by the way, they kept saying, some of these faker fans kept saying it's coming home to Staples Center. Crypto.com arena.
Well,
that's a segment for Crypto.com arena. That's for later in the week. Let's go.
And a slight BC. Remember when you said, son, to keep the same energy when we said the team was too old, had no jump shooters, that you basically would be injury prone? As you came off of being injured this weekend, the energy is not being kept the same. It's being ratcheted up.
It's
because
it's through the roof.
Because
okay?
I have said it on my show. You suck. You stink. You're hot garbage. You're trash.
Mm-hmm. Every member of that team, top to bottom. Hey, Jeannie Buzz, I got a question for you. Who the hell convinced you to sign Russell Westbrook? Oh, I'm sorry. Jeannie's not in charge. LeBron is. Oops. And I cussed. Doggone it.
Isn't that messed up?
Jeannie is only in charge of the Lakers in name only. Oh, you want me to say that again? You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it when I do say it, but I will say it again. Jeannie Buss is running the Lakers in name only.
And you should. I was talking. This wasn't a contentious talk. This was more of like an exploratory talk, and we came to an understanding. And it wasn't even harsh words being exchanged.
Mm-hmm.
So it was with a Lakers fan. And
why did you do that? You know you can't get those brains. Oh, this is a good thing?
That's somewhat. I mean, because because he was thinking, this guy's horrible. You got to trade him. This guy's bad. I'm thinking to myself, okay, he wasn't nearly as bad as you thought when he was doing triple doubles.
Mm-hmm.
When you were doing triple doubles, you were liking him. Now you want to get rid of him because Vogel benched him. Then in one game, in another game, he scores 5 points with 1 of 10 shooting. And then
nothing from distance.
Yeah, and then I went on with to say, this has been who he has been all his career.
All 13 years.
I mean,
okay, listen,
if
folks.
There's one thing that's consistent about him is that he is woefully inconsistent.
Mm-hmm. Listen carefully, folks. Cole has said this on his program. I've said it on mine, and we said it on this program together 3 years ago while I was in a Starbucks in Terre Haute, Indiana. You actually want this guy on your team?
remember, they were thinking, oh, wow, we get the walking, talking triple double. And they're thinking they're going to get the guy that can give them 25, 10, and 10. And I'm thinking to myself, he's not forced to be the number one option on the Lakers. In fact, he won't be. Mm-hmm. He won't even be the number two option.
He's not even the number
if he's
four
number three.
Option.
Yeah, he'd be fortunate if he's number three. More than likely, he'd be four and be jostling for that.
Mm-hmm. And you can see it in his play.
Yeah.
You can see it in his play.
And you heard it in his verbiage, too. Mm-hmm. When LeBron... sorry.
Don't make this...
Bad cold. When the glorious Lakers leader went down the first time this year,
mm-hmm.
and I think it was the first game that he went down, that they were without his services, Westbrook puts up decent totals, but he didn't do the triple-double, but he put up decent totals. And they lost. So
I'm sorry, they did what?
Oh, they did what they've done often this year.
They lost.
Yeah. And so in post-game, Brody said,
oh, God.
Quote, well, see, this ain't my team. I'm not the leader of it. You got to ask him. Close quote.
Why, you stupid idiot.
When you have that being said
incompetent. Did he really just exhibit that kind of incompetence?
And that was back in December.
Yes, it was.
When you have that being said in public.
Yep.
Then you should know what goes on privately. You don't even have to guess. You don't even have to deduce. You already know. So this guy who supposedly is an alpha, he's not even being
you know what?
He's almost Omega to the team now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. You can see it.
And that's not a slight, that's an insult. This is just
pure unadulterated fact.
Yeah. The dude hates it there. I know LA is his home. And he has basketball ties there because he went to UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not getting the chance to do what he did in Oklahoma City. Heck, he's not even getting a chance to do what he did even in Washington, and that was a failed experiment. But I would think he'd rather.
Shucks, the year in Houston was a failed experiment.
Oh, that was
hot. That was some hot garbage.
That was straight hot garbage. But he would rather have the situation in Washington, which wasn't all that great, rather than the one he has now, because unfortunately people are looking at him as the reason why that team is failing. And I'm sorry, he's one of them, one of many.
Okay. Then I'm going to go one step further.
Okay.
Without saying, oh, you know whose name, he's to blame.
Well, I mean,
I've been telling people this is going to be a problem since he made, quote, the decision, unquote.
Well, remember, you had Carmelo Anthony when he got on the team.
And the reason I'm supposed to care?
Proclaim, quote, you the GM, close quote, when we're talking about said guy that we don't mention.
We don't mention his name until Wednesday, but y'all know who I'm talking about.
Not Rob Pelinka. Not Jeannie Buss.
Nope. Rob Pelinka suckered Magic Johnson into hiring him. And when Magic Johnson saw all the writing on the wall and all the demons about to bust loose, he said, the hell with y'all, I'm out of here.
I'm like, it can't be any plainer to me.
Okay.
It cannot be any plainer. It cannot be spelled out.
It really can't.
You can go back to preschool.
It
can't. The alphabet would be harder than to actually decipher this in terms of, oh wow, what really is, I won't say destroying, but what basically is making the Lakers of 2022 suck is because of this either person or this energy.
I have an answer. How about C, both? Because the person who shall remain nameless until Wednesday brings the same kind of energy. The guy who had the unmitigated gall to say, keep the same energy when we're celebrating. I don't see y'all doing much celebrating at all.
And we ain't even celebrating the fact that you're all languishing. In fact, we think it's quite pitiful.
Mm-hmm.
And why do we think it's quite pitiful? Because, and I know my partner will agree with me on this, it has taken you all 3.5 months for you to realize your bread is buttered by having Anthony Davis be the beast of the team.
Mm-hmm. And they don't use him.
Yeah. And guaranteed it will still go back to, well, he showed glimpses of being the beast. And I'm not even talking about before he gets injured again. Right. I'm saying before on the court, he gets usurped again.
And again, and again, and again. Yeah. And again, and again, and again. You know what? If I were Anthony Davis, I would walk into the office and go, you know what? I'm out of here. Take your jersey and your pride and shove it up your ass. I'm done.
This is a question I have to ask you, man. You're 30. You're looking at every other big-time player on your team, and they're much older. None of them are in their prime. The closest to their prime would be Westbrook, and he's on the downturn.
He's been on the downturn since he left Oklahoma City.
Let's
just be real.
My question to you is this, and this almost is like a lob.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you believe that you have all of that wisdom, and they know the one thing that they can't do, this guy can do? Well, actually, there's many things that they can't do that he does.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely the one thing you can't do that he does because he's in his prime. Why is it that they do not cede that responsibility to him?
You know the answer. This is too easy. You know the answer.
I told you it was like a lob.
Because they want everybody else to be in front of him, which made me sad when he signed that extension, because I felt in my heart that after he won his championship, Anthony Davis was going to go either one of two places, and people called me crazy for thinking this, but I'm going to say it anyway. He was either going to go to the Bay or he was going to go home. I'll say it again. Anthony Davis, you should have gone home.
He should have gone home. He should have gone home. And for those who don't know, home for him is Chicago. He should have gone home.
He should have gone home.
The situation, talent-wise,
was perfect.
Far better. And it's exactly, and it's perfect for his skill set.
Especially after they acquired Lonzo Ball and Anthony Caruso and DeMar DeRozan.
That's the thing. Beautiful. You grouped it perfectly for me. I was like, okay, shooter, check. Scorer, check. Facilitator, check. Hustle guy who can play on defense with you, and you actually played with him too, check.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of those things
are right there.
What Anthony Davis is about.
They're there.
And all of them are so, including DeRozan, in fact, especially DeRozan, are so unselfish to where they would ingratiate themselves to have him be big boy on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Because what he brings to the table is long arms, defensive presence that even Caruso, even though he does have a good defensive presence, he doesn't really have it from the standpoint of a center.
Nope.
And an offensive presence where you can get 10 points easy yawning.
I mean, look, the Bulls lost yesterday, but DeMar DeRozan had 45 points. Why am I putting it in that context? Because everybody wants to give an excuse to you know who. Okay.
Oh, you mean like if that person has a 45-point performance but the team loses, we talk more about the 45 points he scored more so than the dysfunctioning team that took an L?
Correctamundo.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. Philadelphia is number 4 in the East, and they're doing this all without the headache that is Ben Simmons. Yes, sir.
This is what makes it even more glorious and funnier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now we heard, and we'll probably will talk about it later on today, or we'll talk about it tomorrow. But basically, I'll say this: the trade that you're all talking about, it ain't happening. But
you know what? Put a pin in that there. Put a pin in that there. And I'm glad you caught what I caught what I was doing. You put a pin in it there. I will give you the floor when we get back.
All right.
On that particular trade that people want to happen, but to those of us who know the NBA and how they operate, in 3 words, it ain't happening. Back in a minute.
Everyone knows what kindergarten is, but have you heard of kindergarten and transitional kindergarten? Virtual learning, where you use a morning meeting to do so? Well, if you look up Miss Delisha on YouTube with Morning Meeting with Miss Delisha, that is where you find it. Here, children can learn about their names, what their names start with, the letters, circles, everything that we learned in kindergarten growing up. The kids can do now and can do it with Miss Delisha. Just go to youtube.com and search Miss Delisha, and when you do, and you put your child involved in this, do me a favor. Tell them Snowman sent you.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that mommy and daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Excuse me, I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada, nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff.
Are you kidding me? Did you not get the memo?
Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Can't wait. Oh, yeah.
The Gridiron on Tap's podcast network is home for expert analysis, news, and information for all of your favorite teams. Just look up Gridiron on Tap, the Gridiron on Tap podcast network by following them on Twitter, GridironPodNet. And also, if you'd like to be a sponsor of the show, drop an email to snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. That's snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. SNOWMAN217.com. Follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest by using the ID official SIT Morn. And if you feel compelled to really help support the network, you can make a one-time donation through paypal.me/snowman2172, or you become a patron at patreon.com/official SIT Morn. Note the name change. Now, you wanted to talk about a trade that people think will happen, but not. Yeah. It involves two people that suck at playing basketball, Ben Simmons and James Harden. And I already know what's coming. I already know what's coming on social media. How can you say that about Ben Simmons and James Harden? Like this, they both suck. Mr. Step Back Travel and Mr. I Don't Want to Shoot. More to the point. Try again. Mr. Step Back Travel, Mr. I Can't Develop a Clean Jump Shot, Mr. I Forgot How to Drive into the Lane and Kick Out to people that can really shoot the basketball, versus, and forgive the way I'm going to phrase this, I don't have the balls to shoot.
Oh, boy. Yeah, Mr. I Draw Fouls versus Mr. I'm Begging for Money.
With a cup, some pens in it, and some sunglasses. And that's your fault for putting that thought in my head. Now I have to use it shamelessly.
The NBA world was drooling when they were saying, "Oh, a deal could be done. James Harden to Philadelphia, and Ben Simmons to Brooklyn." No. Remember we've done this before.
See, that just dries my throat for that. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Keep going. Keep going.
Remember, we've done this before. You remember back in September when it was word that Simmons wanted out and Harden didn't re-sign long-term with the Nets, and he still hasn't.
Are we surprised? No. Are Brooklyn fans surprised? Yes.
Yeah. And the talk then 5 months ago was, man, think about it. This would help both teams out. Simmons, he doesn't demand the ball as much as Harden does, and he's a facilitating distributor and would help them defensively. And Simmons would help them.
Halt. Who would help them defensively?
Simmons. Because remember,
that's what I thought you said. Listen to me, folks. I'll put a pin in it right there, and I'm just gonna say this statement aloud to all you Ben Simmons fans who think he is a defensive dynamo. Think again. Now I'll back off.
Remember, he's considered an elite defender to many who watch his game.
I watch his game, and he doesn't defend. I'm sorry. Go on, please.
And then the Sixers will benefit from Harden. Firstly, because his former GM, and if he were to be on the Sixers now, of course, his future president of basketball operations would be reunited with him, and he could facilitate in a way that Joel Embiid would need and would have the score that Joel Embiid would need.
Joel Embiid is fine without him. If yesterday didn't prove anything, and now I can officially put Joel Embiid in the MVP conversation. And here is the reason.
He's a stud.
Joel Embiid is the stud I thought he would be a few years ago. He finally got it between his ears, which is what I have been saying for the last 4 years. When I kept saying, will Joel Embiid ever and get it? And people would just throw numbers at me. It wasn't the numbers I was concerned about. It was his attitude.
Mentality. It was
his mentality I was concerned about. And now that he has figured it out, I can put him in my MVP conversation.
And he's one of them. He's one of them for this year.
Definitely.
For sure.
He's definitely all of that. Continue, please.
Now I listed the reasons why many of you, and I can list you all: woke NBA fan, Nets fan, Sixers fan, and b-ball heads. I can
supposed b-ball heads.
I can list those reasons as to why it would work for both teams. Here's the one reason why it will not work for either team. Simmons goes to New York. He goes to Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
When it gets to the playoffs, what?
Thank you for climbing in my head on that one.
Are you going to do? Because yes, defense wins championships, but as long as I've watched this game, as well as you, sir, I still believe, even though it is the playoffs, it's the same as the regular season and the finals. It's a team that scores one more point than the opponent wins. So
you have to put the ball in the bucket.
So if he's going to be an offensive liability, in Philadelphia, wouldn't you think he will not be an offensive liability in Brooklyn? On a team where this is supposed to be a three-headed monster, which it's not. It basically and I've said it before, it's a two-headed monster,
and Durant's 1.5.
And he would have to do the same thing that he did last year in the conference semifinals in games 5 and 7, where he had to put the team on his back. He did it in game 5, and he came within 3 inches of doing it again in 7.
And both of those were at home.
Both of those were at home.
Both of those were at home.
So he would have to be asked to do that even more so, because he at least has the delusion. Not saying that Durant is delusional. I'm saying the thoughts are being passed along from teammates and from Harden himself, that he has the delusion in his head, oh, I have another scorer along with me. With Simmons, he knows he doesn't have that. He knows he has to be all of that on the offensive end. And he looks at Ben Simmons, it's like, look, and it gets to the point of the fourth quarter, look, your distribution stuff doesn't work. I'll handle the rock. That is why it would be a massive failure for Simmons to be in Brooklyn. The massive failure for Harden to be a Sixer is quite simple. You see this wonderful Joel Embiid performance that you're getting. And the one thing I love about him is he works just as hard in the playoffs as he does in the regular season. I've watched him.
As have I.
I watched him. He puts it all on the court every single game.
Mm-hmm.
And I give him mad credit for doing that.
Yep, absolutely.
He's going to see a guy that from now until mid-April be as sold out for playing the game as he is.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to see in that same point guard from mid-April on a guy who wants all the glory and all the credit and will forget him in crunch time. While he just throws nothing but bricks, trying to draw fouls, trying to do step-back travels, and then just simply sink the team like he did when he was in
big-time step-back travels. I mean, it's obvious. Oh, but to all these Hardenific fools, that's the best I can come up with. Okay, to all these Hardenific fools, they don't think so, and just why?
No,
just
no,
I just need to know why.
Yeah, it's all hail the beard,
mm-hmm.
and
all hail the beard.
And to me,
has he done anything since he's grown that doggone thing? I'll answer that. No.
And to me, it's open and shut. I'm looking at these two guys, and it's like, wow, it's the same player just in two different packages.
Mm-hmm.
So
you know who the beard reminds me of? Someone we spoke of earlier, Russell Westbrook.
I'm so glad you brought him up.
I just had to lead you down that path with the breadcrumbs I had.
Oh, good Lord. You're a gem. See, the swap between the Sixers and the Nets wouldn't work because of that reason. Now, what I find even more humorous and what I find even more entertaining is that Lakers fan is so fed up with Brody that they want to entertain a Ben Simmons for Russell Westbrook trade. And I'm thinking to myself,
what the hell? Can I ask for you? Can I ask the question for you, please? What in the Vita Blue, yellow-bellied, red-blooded hell are y'all thinking?
And I said this too.
What in the blue hell are they?
I said this to the Lakers fan laughing my butt off. I said, if that trade were to happen, the Lakers would want to on site punch out every single Sixers executive for actually having them trade for Westbrook and get Simmons. They would want to punch them out on site because I said, and I said to Lakers fan, I said, if you all were booing Westbrook with his performance, you don't think you're going to see more 5 points or 1 of 10 shooting from him?
It'll be 1 of 4 shooting. Can we just?
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Can we just like keep it real?
Yeah.
What's the popular vernacular? And this is a definite shot. Can we just keep it a stack?
That's the only difference.
And y'all know I'm having
fun. It would be less shots.
And y'all know I'm having fun with that for a very private reason. And Cole knows the reason I use that piece of vernacular. I had to make that joke.
So I found it hilarious because I was like, I'm not even entertaining the Harden Simmons Sixers net swap. I'm not even entertaining that because that's not even funny. It just ain't happening. But this Lakers Sixers swap, that's hilarious. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Westbrook for Simmons.
You all are booing Westbrook out of LA.
You think you won't boo Ben Simmons out of Staples?
On a nightly basis. I'm thinking, oh my gosh. Well, if you think Simmons is your answer, you're seeing a harbinger of things to come already with how Westbrook has played this last week.
Yep.
Because he's going to give you more of that.
Dear Russell Westbrook, my uncle laid better bricks than you.
Oh Lord, that's the truth. But I find hilarious that this is like a scapegoat. It's like Westbrook is the reason why we're failing. We got to get rid of him. And then they think they think their savior is going to be Simmons. That's what I find hilarious.
Ben Simmons.
Go ahead.
I have about 100 words in my head right now. 99 of them are not nice. I have 100 words in my head right now. 99 and a half of them are not nice.
Oh my gosh.
And because I kept a promise to my children and my grandchildren and my wife, I will not turn into George Carlin or Richard Pryor. I promise. I made that promise.
Oh my gosh.
I made that promise.
It's hilarious, man. Just the things that people concoct. It's funny to me. I'm like, no.
You know why they concoct them? Because I had this said about me when I made a criticism about you-know-who. Quote, because you have nothing better to do with your life. So you decide, I'll use the full quote. You have nothing better to do with your life. So you decide to criticize another black man. Close quote. First of all, that black man that you are referring to is not a good basketball player. And he hasn't been for 18 and a half seasons. Second of all, he trails in championship rings, and at least 2 of those championship rings were grooved for him.
Oh, not groomed. Oh, man.
Groomed, doggone it. Groomed. I mean, just as great as a big Alaskan husky is groomed on almost a daily basis. All I have to say is 2013. All I have to say is 2016 for one of my examples.
Yeah, 2013, they earned it.
They earned it in
But
2013.
man.
I almost spoke critically of the wrong championship. 2016, that title was grooved for them. That title was, okay, I'll say a sentence that I haven't said in a long time. The league was handed to him when he wasn't ready. Because I saw an old game where St. Vincent St. Mary's played Oak Hill. You know the only thing he could do in that game? It's the same thing he could do in his game today. Dunk. And when you're 6'8" and you can reach the rim like that, the athleticism is off the charts. The athleticism is still off the charts, okay? He is a great athlete, but he's not a good basketball player.
Wait, I thought you had nothing better to do than to criticize. I heard you actually compliment him there.
Oh, they don't look at that.
No, of course they don't.
They don't look at that. You know they don't look at that.
No. And here's another thing. It's not that I have because I've gotten that complaint too.
I know you have.
It's not that I have nothing else better to do than to criticize a black man. No. I get paid to be objective. And you could be blue. I don't give a crap.
Wait a minute. Did you just say we get paid to be, what's the word? Objective? Did you just say the word objective?
Yes, sir.
I've been objective for almost 30 years of covering sports. And yet, you and I are both still criticized for, what are the next three words I'm looking for? Speaking the truth. Speaking the truth. Man, isn't that what we were supposed to do?
Yeah.
Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
Yeah. I mean, look, we're journalists. Journalists are supposed to be about the truth.
Yep.
More than being about anything else, including our own self-interest.
I know some folks back in my hometown of Chicago that are excellent journalists. Are they homers from time to time? Better believe it.
Yeah.
Lord knows I am. But you know the one thing they do that I won't say the word, will never do and hasn't done in 19 years? Bring and accept facts. Okay. Oh, you don't know what that 5-letter word is? Okay, let me give you an example of what a fact is. Fact. Oh, you know who is 4-6 in finals appearances?
Oh, you can't say that. That's
I got more. Fact. He's only shot 50% from the field for the season 3 times.
But he surpassed Jordan with less shots.
I'm glad you said that. Would you read that quote that I sent you? And I'm going to yank up a conversation I had.
Not an argument. All right.
Please read that frivolity for me. And yes, I said frivolity. I know what the doggone word means.
All right. Quote. LeBron played longer. Oh, like he's typing it as a ransom note. Jordan, 32,292 career points on 24,357 shot attempts. 32,293 points on 23,095 shots. In parentheses, 1,262 less shot attempts. Close parentheses. Close quote. The floor is yours, sir.
Okay. So, and my good friend Danny Bennett, one of the folks in charge of the Gridiron on Tap network and Gridiron on Tap podcast network, and thank you to them for. I believe I have my guest here, and I believe this to be Lavon Kirkland. Do I have Lavon Kirkland with me?
Yes, you do.
I do. And ladies and gentlemen, to make a proper introduction, please welcome former Steeler, All-Pro linebacker, and Super Bowl participant Lavon Kirkland. Now I say good morning to you, sir. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to have you on. When I had you on the air the first time, it was not under good circumstances, but with this being Super Bowl week, all of us can smile, and I can ask you the following question to start this. What was that week like for you in Tempe, Arizona?
It was a great week. It's something that even as a little boy, you think about being a part of. At least I did. And so, man, it was a great week of not only practice, but it was really a great week of just enjoying the Super Bowl and understanding that you were the only show in town. So we had a great week, and I wish we would have finished it off for a win. But other than that, I had a great time. Got a chance to be on the Jay Leno show and just had a lot of fun.
Did you get nervous at all? Because it was Super Bowl week and you were there, you were one of the final two teams standing. Did you get nervous at all leading up to the game?
Yeah, no question about it. I was really confident before the game, warm-ups and everything. But I'm telling you, that first play, man, my knees started buckling a little bit. But once we got the first play out of the way, I was fine. But I didn't have that buckling feeling until, the first time I had it was in the NFL. The very first game, the very first off, your knees are buckling a little bit because I guess that's a natural nervous response.
Right.
But yeah, that was the only time that it came back is when I played in the Super Bowl. My knees started buckling.
Did your knees buckle when you were introduced? When you were when y'all were in the tunnel? This is when they did the player introductions back then.
Right.
Were you nervous when your number was next to be introduced by Paul Olden and you were going to run out on the field? Did something overwhelm you with that moment?
No, it wasn't that. I was very comfortable. Like I said, I walked out, I pointed to the sky, I pointed to the guys. I was ready to go. I didn't get nervous, like I said, until the very first play, which is probably common. It's probably something that occurs a lot more than people probably will admit. But I'll be the first one to admit that my knees were buckling that very first play, and then I was okay.
Yeah, and I can imagine that being in that situation. The walkthroughs are fine. You get used to the field. You get used to everything, and like you said, you had a chance to appear on Jay Leno's show when they were live in Tempe, Arizona. Take me through that. Take me through that first play. Aside of your knees buckling when both teams broke the huddle and you were ready to hit someone for that first time. Take me through that. Take me through that moment. That first moment in the Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah, sure. We're on defense first. We kicked the ball off to them. They got the ball. We huddle up. I remember making the call. And then, like, for me, it's always you kind of assess the situation, whether the formation is, I had to make some of the calls. So I did my thing, whether it was, the strength to the tight end, where we're coming from the open side or the closed side, made those things and got settled. And I think they ran like a counter the first play. And it bust about 21 yards. I stepped the wrong way. I got sealed off. And that was really the first and only big run that he got. And then I was like, okay, calm down. Calm down. Then, once you make your first tackle or so, you're
right.
better.
Right.
So that was I remember the first play because I stepped I was. It was a simple counterplay, which I've seen like millions of times before, but I was just a little over anxious. I stepped a little too much inside,
Yeah.
and they ran the counter and they got us, and it was on me on that one.
Lavon Kirkland joining us here as we kick off our coverage of Super Bowl week, leading to Sunday's game in Los Angeles. When you went up against that Cowboys offensive line, which was absolutely humongous, what did you what'd you tell your teammates or they to you when that subject was discussed? Going up against one of the biggest offensive lines in the NFL, if not the biggest.
Well, we heard that all week. We heard how in the world you guys going to stop that powerful running game that Dallas had, and you try to answer the question in a politically correct way, but after about Wednesday or so, hearing that same question,
right,
you get fed up. He's like, hey man, we're a good defense, man.
Right.
We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be okay. But sometimes the media takes it, all the way to the edge.
Yes.
And that was a question I hate to be like Michael Jordan, but after a while you do take it personally.
You absolutely do.
Yeah, you're like, you know what, man, we're gonna stop this run. And we're going to be able to. We felt like we had a defense to match up with them. That our linebackers were going to be able to roam free. They were powerful, there's no question about it. But they were very simple as what they did. So it wasn't anything that was going to fool you. You just had to really be quicker, adjust yourself a little bit. And once we kind of got the feel of what they were going to be doing, we pretty much shut them out.
Yeah. Yeah, what was it like playing with Greg Lloyd, Chad Brown, and Kevin Green? That gold and black linebacking core of that '95 season. What was it like playing with those guys?
It was absolutely great. It really was. I mean, it's always cool when you can have guys that are equal as far as making plays and playing the game is concerned. And I felt like we all brought something really good to the table. We're all different in our abilities, but we all brought, the same characteristics. We all wanted to be the very best. I think we really pushed each other to be the very best, especially Chad and I, because Kevin and Greg were already established as Pro Bowlers. And me and Chad were guys. And we're really young guys to the position. I didn't start playing inside backer until I got to Pittsburgh. It was the same for him. So we were new to the position, but I felt like we were very athletic, very talented, could move, could cover. We could do all the things. We can even rush. We both rushed the passer in college. We can do all of it. But it was an honor to play with those guys because they just made you better. And if you're in the NFL and you can get lucky to get with a unit that's very good and you can be a part of it, it was a blessing. It really was. And I really reminisce and enjoyed my time with the Steelers playing with those three guys.
Well, it was a pleasure to watch you grow in your career. It was fun to watch you play. This is Steelers All-Pro linebacker Lavon Kirkland helping us kick off our coverage of Super Bowl week as we count you down to the Rams and the Bengals in Los Angeles. Lavon, thank you so much for coming on to the show today and helping us kick off our Super Bowl coverage. I really appreciate it.
Oh, man, thank you so much for having me anytime, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, bye.
Isn't that cool?
What a class act.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. What a class act. And what I love about him is that you could see why Cowher decided to make him an inside linebacker, because he seemed to have the intellect to decipher what an opposing offense is going to do, and that's what you need out of your middle linebacker, or one of your middle linebackers, because they run the 3-4.
And who was the coach at the time with that same intellect that bled into his defense? Bill Cowher.
Bill Cowher.
Bill Cowher. You can't go wrong with Bill Cowher. And thank you, Lavon Kirkland, for coming on and talking to us. I have a surprise for my partner. I have a big old surprise coming for my partner. And I'm going to warn everybody, I'm feeling quite petty. Back and forth.
Everyone knows what kindergarten is, but have you heard of kindergarten and transitional kindergarten? Virtual learning where you use a morning meeting to do so? Well, if you look up Miss Delisha on YouTube with Morning Meeting with Miss Delisha, that is where you find it. Here, children can learn about their names, what their names start with, the letters, circles, everything that we learned in kindergarten growing up. The kids can do now and can do it with Miss Delisha. Just go to youtube.com and search Miss Delisha, and when you do, and you put your child involved in this, do me a favor. Tell them Snowman sent you.
What is dedication?
I am the father of a 9-year-old little girl and a 6-year-old little boy, and I find fatherhood both relentlessly challenging and relentlessly rewarding. My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much, from the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night, and every moment in between. It really is so special, and boy, is it exhausting. One thing that I fear about being a parent is the future for my children. I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings. But I'm also hopeful that the future holds a more inclusive and compassionate world for them.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. Welcome back to the program, everybody. And I made a promise before we went to a short break that I had a surprise. Here's the surprise. Mr. Jay Spivey, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's great to have you back on the show, and I'm glad we're able to work out a time where I can have you on weekly, even with the move of my show to 8 a.m. Eastern. Man, thank you for coming on. And
You're
as
quite
I
welcome.
said before we went to break, I was feeling quite petty. Here's why I'm feeling petty. There was a tweet that you sent to me, Jay, from our favorite Carolina Panther fan.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
There's a tweet that Jay Spivey sent to me from our favorite Carolina Panther fan that, and I want Jay to have the floor first. Sign Cam to a friendly 1-year deal.
No. Yeah, definitely, Jay, take the floor.
Jay,
Listen.
please take the floor.
I don't know how you can honestly sit there and defend anything that was written in that tweet. I mean, this nightmare is over. It's time to put Cam to bed. It is his time. His time with the Panthers and the NFL is over. He is done. Toast.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
He cannot
Adios.
play anymore.
And if
it's
the last
obvious this soap opera was a nightmare this year.
You saw it on and off the field.
Oh my!
I had a friend of mine 2 years ago ask me why won't we hear anything football-wise from Cam Newton, and my response was then, quote, because Cam Newton is finished. If this didn't prove, if this season did not prove that Cam Newton is finished, and the return to Carolina was just to put butts in the seats at Bank of America Stadium, then I don't know what kind of proof do they need.
I mean, you hit it right on the head. How much more friendly a contract could he have had this year? And it was still a nightmare.
He had a friendly contract in New England and didn't do anything.
Nothing.
They cut him.
All right. Now
He can't throw the ball. He can't run anymore. He's just there to show what he's wearing in a given game. Like, anybody gives a crap what he's wearing in a given game.
I mean, he had one game against Arizona where he screamed, "I'm back"? No,
Yeah.
you weren't.
How'd that work out?
How'd the rest of the season work out for you? Cole, take the floor, please.
Please do. Before I get really angry.
Same.
I will always go back to how Mr. Newton's season began this past year, when the reason and rationale why he got cut from the Patriots was because a rookie was teaching him
the
Patriots playbook.
A playbook he had a year to know by. He had a year to get to know, by the way.
Yeah, that's another thing. He was already on the team a year, but a rookie, he only had LTAs and maybe a week of a training camp,
and he knew the playbook better than a veteran.
The playbook better than a veteran. Okay, now. What Jay said, I'm 100% with, but this is what you're going to hear us push back if you haven't already, Jay, if you haven't already, Brian. But Bill wanted to sabotage Cam. That's why he wasn't able to succeed in New England.
Wrong.
And with Carolina, I mean, McCaffrey hasn't been healthy for a full year. If McCaffrey's on the team. If McCaffrey's on the team, man, Cam would take that team to the next level.
Okay, I say wrong to both statements. In New England, and Jay, you're going to love what I'm going to say next. Cam sabotaged himself.
Of course he did.
By not knowing the playbook, not knowing what to do. Bill didn't sabotage him. He sabotaged himself.
And have the Patriots shrink the playbook so much. To the skill set that he does possess.
The second part of that is not just Cam, but McCaffrey.
McCaffrey needs to listen.
They need to get rid of him too.
To our favorite Panther fan, he's not going to like my words, but I prefer speaking the truth on this show, as Jay and I talked about over the course of the weekend. Christian McCaffrey has got to go.
Yes.
I hate saying it,
but it's true.
I hate saying it because I love his talent and love what he could bring to an offense.
Love his heart too.
They need to get rock bottom. And to do this, they have to tear this down and start from scratch.
They do.
And agree.
They do. They got to. How did I put it, gentlemen? They need to push the plunger and blow this thing up.
Absolutely.
The Carolina Panthers. I'll mention another team, the Chicago Bears. I'll mention a third team, and nobody's going to like the way I'm going to say this, the Dallas Cowboys. All three of them.
That actually would not be a bad fit for McCaffrey.
In order for the Cowboys to do it, their owner's going to have to quit. You know he's not quitting.
Oh, no, he's not quitting. No. He's not going to push the plunger and blow it up.
And I'm saying, speaking of ownership, the reason why we will not see them blow up the team the way that you're suggesting, and I agree, correctly, so I may add, is because it seems to me what I've understood, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, it seems that Mr. David Tepper loves to be in headlines and he loves to make a splash.
You are 100% right. And I've been saying this since the day he took over as the owner of the Panthers.
And Jay's been saying this on my show for Jay's been saying this on my show for 2.5 years.
People laughed at me and said I was crazy and this and that. Listen, when you have an owner who acts like he's one of the players, and you're one of the gang, you want an owner who stays outside of the limelight.
Yes.
You don't want Jerry Jones.
No, you don't. You don't.
You don't want a clone of Jerry Jones.
No, it's entertaining, for a journalist like three of us. It's entertaining to see it. But if you're a fan, no, you don't want to. And definitely if you're a player, to me, I don't think you want to see the owner basically outshine everybody that's on in the organization, because you're thinking, well, if you're going to be hawking the spotlight, what purpose do I, as a player, what purpose do I serve?
Outside of Jerry Jones on a given Sunday or whatever other day of the week that they play now.
Right.
How many other owners do you see that are actually quoted by the media on a given game basis? None.
Not many. None of them. None of them.
None.
But David Tepper is almost quoted every single week by somebody.
He's getting there.
And then he should have. We all know why Rule wasn't fired, because that contract was huge. They were rolling him.
And it was a bad contract that they gave him.
Terrible contract. and they don't want to eat that money, so they're going to keep him
No,
on.
they don't want to eat that. No, they don't want to
eat.
eat that money. Even though Rule is bad for the team, even though Rule is not the correct coach for the Carolina Panthers, even though Matt Rule has almost single-handedly put this team in the pit.
I find it hilarious though that that Tepper had the nerve to say, "Well, you know that big contract that our head coach signed. I'm not all for it." I laugh. I'm like,
you gave him that contract. Yeah. Okay. David Tepper's going to say, "Oh, I don't like the contract we gave Matt Rule." Really? Then why'd you give it to him?
That's what I find hilarious. Aren't you the one who's supposed to okay every single one of these contracts that are signed? Player.
Apparently, you okayed that one.
Coaches?
I mean, he's a hedge fund manager who happened to hit it rich. What does he know about football? What does David Tepper know about football?
I'll answer that question. Not a damn
I'm
thing.
going to say this one more time. Not just for David Tepper. You're an owner. You are not a player personnel person. Let your player personnel people run your organization.
And what sucks is that you would think that he does know something about football, considering that he came up executive wise under the Steelers umbrella. So you're thinking, okay, so an NFL blue, he came up on an NFL blue blood team, so he might know something about football. Okay.
No.
And it seems to be it is not the case at all.
He's not the Rooneys, that's for sure.
He definitely is not the Rooneys. Not even close.
Not even
close.
Not even close. Not even close. All right, really? You're gonna? Oy. Caramba!
Yeah, I find that
funny. It feels like David Tepper and Jerry Jones need to step out of the way and let someone who actually knows how to build a team push the plunger, blow it up, and try again.
Well, if you can find a quarterback, which I know is a little difficult, if you can find a quarterback, it's really not that hard to do that in the NFL these days. To build from scratch.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Bengals. The Bengals went from horrible last year to the Super Bowl.
And they're in the Super Bowl this weekend.
Stole my thought, because that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
They went from the bottom to the top in a short amount of time. And Cole, as you pointed out on your podcast, they're ahead of schedule.
They are.
They are well ahead of schedule.
They are ahead of schedule.
They are. I mean,
if they can get any Simmons in the offensive line, they're going to be a power for years.
Oh gosh, yes. That's the only that's the
AFC
stopping them from
North
being one right now. Yes.
The AFC North is theirs to rule for the next 10 years. Give them an offensive line, and it'll be 1981 through 1988 all over again, because you have the quarterback in place, circa Ken Anderson and Boomer Esiason. You got the receivers. They have a running game which is becoming more and more powerful. Couple mixing with an extra back, and you have basically the 49ers going north. And I'm talking about in terms of a running game that will allow Joe Burrow and company to shred defenses through the air.
Yeah, they should dominate the North.
They should.
They should dominate. They should dominate the North for the next 10 years.
The AFC is going to be fun to watch the next 10 or 12 years.
Oh my gosh! Oh gosh! Between Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and Herbert. Oh my gosh, man! Yes.
I will save my thoughts on the. Mac Jones in the picture. You got Mac Jones in the picture. So you got those 5 quarterbacks right there. They're going to make the AFC fun to watch. It's just going to be a matter of who's going to participate in the Super Bowl that year. That's all it's going to come down to.
And they're all roughly the same age. They're all
right.
26 year range.
Yep. And like I said, it's all going to come down to who gets hot at the right time. Because on 2 occasions, the Chargers had the AFC West locked up. The second one was on a Thursday night game, and they let Kansas City come back and beat them.
Well, to me,
that
the
was their
biggest
season.
thing is not to crush Josh Allen by running the ball so much. Because if he can stay healthy, there's no telling how good he can be.
And there's one quarterback that there's one quarterback that we didn't mention, and I'm not going to mention him in that same bunch, and that's Lamar Jackson. Why?
Well, he's always hurt.
Not only that, look at his offensive coordinator. Not only that, look at his offensive coordinator. Two things holding back Lamar. Two things stunting the growth of Lamar Jackson: his injuries and his offensive coordinator. Period. What I said at the top of this season, there will be two quarterbacks that in the same division that will regress: Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson. I got crushed something stupid for saying Lamar Jackson would regress. What did he do?
He did.
What did he do after that Monday night game against the Colts?
Oh, all he does is run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
His first inclination is to run the ball. You can't do that when you're a quarterback.
And no one, and I will borrow from Jay, the quarterback position is the most poorly coached position no matter what the level.
Not even close.
Your name close. I agree with you.
No matter what the level. And Jay, this is for you. Sam Howell is a perfect example college-wise.
He has regressed the last year or so.
Yep. And whoever takes him has a project on their hands.
Probably a year and a half ago, he might have been the number one overall pick this year in the draft. But I didn't see any of the Senior Bowl this past weekend, but apparently he really struggled. He
did.
fumbled the ball a couple times.
He did. Sam Howell's not ready. Sorry. Whoever gets him needs to sit him on the bench, put a notepad and a clipboard in front of him, and take away his helmet.
This year should have been. He should have been way high in the draft. As little quarterback play as there is in this draft.
I wouldn't be surprised if he goes below the first round.
The latest Kuiper draft does not have him in the first round. That speaks volumes in this day and age.
Yeah, it does. But he's accurately ranked. He's not a first round quarterback. He's not.
Because these teams will spend any capital possible to get a quarterback in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But not him.
No. Sam Howell's not worth it.
I saw him play in high school. I covered one of his games in high school, and he's regressed since then.
Yeah. He has. He has. I covered North Carolina for half a season this year before I had to move back here. It was bad. The only reason he beat Wake Forest is because Wake Forest sped the game up. That's it.
Well, it's because Wake Forest choked.
And Wake Forest,
when you're up 20-some points with less than a quarter to play,
for the second straight year. For the second straight year, Wake Forest had a 20-point lead and blew it.
A better team than Killen.
Mm-hmm.
Is it wrong of me of saying that I look at Sam Howell and I smell like a next generation of Baker Mayfield?
Yep, you are absolutely correct. Whoever gets Sam Howell has a project on their hands, and it's a big one.
Something in his head.
I think it is. I think he thinks that he's better than what
2020 season
the Panthers have.
Mm-hmm. I think that Sam Howell.
Sam Darnold sees.
I think Sam Howell thinks that he's better than what he's turning out to be, because he's regressed big time in 2 years.
No question about it.
He's regressed big time in 2 years. All right, we're up against the break, but Jay Spivey, the Spivey notes are back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming on, my friend. I really appreciate it.
You're quite welcome. Thank you both.
Thank you, bro.
All right.
Did I surprise you?
That was good. That made my Monday.
Did I surprise you?
That made my Monday, and Jay is always on point.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
That's why I love having him on. Jay Spivey will join us each and every Monday, continuing with a relationship that we started 2.5 years ago, actually. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to stop. While we go to a break, before we go to a break, I want to remind you, pick up the podcast version of Snowman in the Morning anywhere that you can. iHeartRadio, Odyssey, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that you consume your podcast, you can pick up the Snowman in the Morning podcast. You'll hear our best interviews, you will hear our best segments, and it'll be all squished to within 1 hour. We're going to have some fun when we get back.
What is dedication?
I am the father of a 9-year-old little girl and a 6-year-old little boy, and I find fatherhood both relentlessly challenging and relentlessly rewarding. My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much, from the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night, and every moment in between. It really is so special, and boy, is it exhausting. One thing that I fear about being a parent is the future for my children. I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings. But I'm also hopeful that the future holds a more inclusive and compassionate world for them.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Everyone knows what kindergarten is, but have you heard of kindergarten and transitional kindergarten? Virtual learning where you use a morning meeting to do so? Well, if you look up Miss Delisha on YouTube with Morning Meeting with Miss Delisha, that is where you find it. Here children can learn about their names, what their names start with, the letters, circles, everything that we learned in kindergarten growing up. The kids can do now and can do it with Miss Delisha. Just go to youtube.com and search Miss Delisha, and when you do, and you put your child involved in this, do me a favor. Tell them Snowman sent you.
These are the sounds of a dinner. But not just any dinner. A dinner that almost didn't happen. Because without food, it can't. A dinner now served, thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations to the COVID-19 Relief Fund are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Your help is needed now more than ever, and every dollar makes a difference. That's feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. On behalf of Feeding America and families nationwide, thank you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 Food Banks strong.
He flew fighter jets in 2 wars and taught you how to drive a car. He fed everyone on the block, but never shared his secret recipes. And every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones through StoryCorps Connect. With StoryCorps Connect, you can honor seniors remotely with an interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that years from now, future generations can listen in.
All right, Grandpa, what's one piece of advice you have for me?
Just 3 words, sweetheart. Live with courage. The man that had the best stories still has plenty of stories to tell. So connect virtually and share the conversation of a lifetime at StoryCorpsConnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff.
Are you kidding me? Did you not get the memo?
Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Can't wait. Oh, yeah.
Hey, folks, if you want to sponsor this program, all you have to do is drop an email to snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. That's snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. You can text the show at any time. Follow us on our social media. Official SIT Morn is the ID that you need. My thanks to Jay Spivey and Steelers All-Pro Lavon Kirkland for joining me this morning. Waiting on confirmation for some more guests that may appear, but this is Super Bowl week. We'll be covering the Super Bowl. Are we going to do it to the nauseating level that the other networks do? No, we're just going to outline the top points and go from there. And again, let me thank Lavon Kirkland for coming on and just sharing his experience of playing in Super Bowl 30 against the Dallas Cowboys. I said I was feeling quite petty, so I need to share a story.
Okay.
I got booted from a network last week.
Booted from a network. Okay, so why were you booted from a network last week?
Because, well, I was given 2 reasons. I was actively trying to steal members from said network for my own, which is a lie and a half. Which is a lie and a half. And the second reason is because I can't believe I'm going to repeat this. seeking other opportunities when they promise me television airtime. Okay.
Seeking
I'm going to
opportunities.
I'm going to respond in a way that'll make my partner smile and laugh at the same time. And I'm going to show y'all that being petty doesn't mean you have to say 100,000 cuss words. I did that in private.
And you're right, you don't have to.
First and foremost, I begin by saying, I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man.
Man.
Which
Let
means,
me handle my business, baby.
The encouragement I got from my better half this morning. So, in terms of being a business man, you seek all opportunities and connect with the ones that work for you. And considering, I know people are not going to like me saying this, but my partner will. Considering Cole Johnson and I host the best morning sports show to get your day started, I believe we need to be out there. Hell, let me repeat the words of my partner, Cole Johnson. He said this to me when I was on the verge of quitting at the end of 2018. Before I met Jody and before I hung up this headset, Cole told me, your voice needs to be out there. You can't quit. You can't do that to yourself. And I was in a pool full of tears at the moment. And I said, what? He said, your voice needs to be out there. No one delivers takes the way you do. And no one bothers to put facts behind it the way that you do. I said, well, you do it. He said, well, we do it together. That statement stuck with me, sir. We do it together. That statement stuck with me. And to the folks at Real Wise Radio, Will Otero and his bunch, Brandy Singleton, they believed. They kept asking me, when are you going to put your show on our network? Well, they have it this morning, and they have it each and every morning. They have the audio version on their network each and every morning. I must have contacted 5 or 6 other people over the course of the last 2 weeks saying, hey, I'm back on the air. I'm being consistent. You said you wanted me on your network. You know, none of them deleted expletives got back to me. And as for the network I was booted from, thank you. Thank you for setting me free, and thank you for showing me your hand. Never thought I'd handle it this way, did you? I called my buddy Robert Cobb from The Inscriber magazine, and he said, Snowman, you sound better. I am better. I'm feeling great. And the biggest reason I'm feeling great, and the man that's on the line with me will love this reasoning because he shares nuggets about his father as I do about mine. One of the last things my dad said to me, he said 2 things. Stay busy and quit giving up what other people think.
Oh, man.
He looked me square in the eye, and I was at a down moment because I was covering I was covering Chicago State, and I was having trouble getting around, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? And he squared my shoulders, looked me in the eye, and said, why do you care about what other people think? Aren't you an adult now?
Oh, man.
You know who repeated that the next day? My mother. Squared my shoulders and said the exact same thing. And this is before we lost Pops to cancer. That's why I have this big old smile on my face, because of them. And it finally hit me. Quit giving a rip about what other people think. Because you're going to have some people that'll think negative about you no matter what you do.
That's the truth.
It finally hit me. Near the age of 50, it finally hit me. That's why I'm feeling better. You can't do this for this long. Oh, no? Let me prove my pettiness by saying, thank you to the group that set me free. Thank you to the groups that never got back to me. Thank you to the groups that once upon a time had my show, then dropped me. I can easily say part of that was my fault because of a lack of consistency. That's one thing I've said on this show very often. But what they didn't count on was me getting back up, was me getting the show back up, taking a little time away and realizing, hey, I got something special here. And so, Cole Johnson, I make this promise to you. And y'all are hearing this live. I'm not going to be silenced. I will not let this voice be silenced. I will not let this program be silenced. I'm going to share something that happened to me that I do not wish on anyone. Friends, enemies, whatever. In short order, someone tried to take my company from me in 2015. Tried to pull the rug from under me. And you know how she tried to do it? She tried to catch me on a day where my emotions were running so high, it's not even funny. Because at the time, I was dealing with the loss of my daughter. And I can honestly tell you, for a couple of years, my company and I were under siege. But when I finally figured out what that was up to, I strapped on my chin strap and made a goal line stand. And I told her, look, if you're going to take this from me, you'll have to kill me. Never heard from her again. Oh, and by the way, to that same person, you owe me $1,000. That's a Snowman Unfiltered episode. So to everyone who thought I was done for, who thought I would never come back from what I've been through, I got socked in the belly with pancreatic cancer. And I plan to come back from that. The fellow you hear with me 5 days a week, he was the perfect choice for being my radio partner. Perfect choice. Because mostly every day when I was living in North Carolina, I would call him and we'd be on the phone 2 or 3 hours. I said, what the hell? Let's take that conversation, put it into segments, and put it into 120 minutes. Now, there are times he won't be able to join me because of a meeting with his employer, and I understand that. I can handle it, and I will handle it. I will handle it. But the best part is when you realize what you're worth and you don't let any damn body steer you from it. And the only way you get better is if you bring in the correct people. Cole Johnson, I know I certainly did with you. And I mean that from the heart. I know I brought in the correct person with him. And I did it again when I made my better half my executive producer. She gives me ideas and looks at me and says, go execute them. She actually looked at me and said, how do you want me to do this? I said, I've done this on my gut feeling for 8 years. I've done sports talk and sportscasting on a gut feeling for almost 30 years. I can't believe it's approaching 30 years. But screw it at this point. And that's how I'm going to operate. And that's how the show is going to operate. I thank everybody that watched this morning. And Cole, I definitely thank you for still being in my corner.
Well, that's not going to change, man. Look, what I told you in private, which this does not, well, there's things which will stay private, but this one doesn't have to be. But what I said to you then, I still feel the same now, and that is sometimes you have to have addition in your life by subtraction. And in this case, that's what happened. I mean, it sucks that it happened the way it does. No ill will, no hard feelings, at least on my end.
None.
But sometimes in life you have to grow by pruning.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can't see when the need to prune happens, and sometimes you can't see the area in which you need to prune happen until it's necessary.
Right.
But just certain things that grow on you can die, and you have to cut off something that dies before it takes root and it metastasizes and grows elsewhere, which unfortunately and fortunately, that is what's happening with you cancer-wise. And I say fortunately because I think that has helped you become a stronger fighter.
It has.
Unfortunately, because it's something that I don't ever want anybody to have, especially people I love, and you're one of them. But fortunately, because I've seen it with just about everybody that I know that's had cancer. That is my mother and my grandmother amongst them, and now you, and my mother-in-law, and now you. It seems to make you a stronger fighter. And I can tell you, my friend, my mother, my grandmother, and my mother-in-law have kicked it. You're well on your way to doing it too, bro. And basically, this is nothing more than just your cancer diagnosis and the unfortunate former partner in this journey of taking your program. It's just a speed bump.
That's all it is.
Yeah,
that's all it is.